Hi everyone, this is Veronica. Today our topic of discussion is about the National Aquifer Mapping and Management Program. So we'll discuss in detail. So see, these aquifer are the rocks which lie below and which contains water. They are porous in nature. So basically we here somewhere talking about the groundwater also. So let's see what is this management program. You can connect with me for updates and queries on Instagram and Facebook because I feel together we can make a difference. So here let me tell you about our big Christmas sale. So today is the last day, flat 70% off. It is valid till 25th December 2019 on all our pen drive and Android courses. For additional information you can connect with us. You can call us on these numbers or you can visit our website also. Now see, here I'll talk about the relevance of this topic. Mains paper 3, it will be covered in conservation, environmental pollution and degradation. At objective level, you should know about NAQ, UIM, what is it? Subjective level, what is aquifer mapping in India. Now see, what is the current affair here? In what context today we are studying this? Central Groundwater, CGWB, you should know about is implementing NAQ UIM, that is National Aquifer Mapping and Management Program for aquifer mapping in the country. As you know, our country is going through water crisis. There are many water stress states in our country. So it's very important to know the resources, what resources we have and what are left, and which are left, how we can manage them. So that is how the mapping is being done all over the India under this program, National Aquifer Mapping. So now here talking about NAQ UIM. See, water is a state subject, so all the decisions usually they are taken by state. All the initiatives on water management, which includes your conservation and even the artificial recharge to groundwater. So these are primarily your state's responsibility. Now this NAQUIM is such an initiative and it is under Ministry of Jal Shakti for mapping and the managing the entire aquifer system in the country which exists. So here the vision is to identify, so firstly we need to identify and then we need to map the aquifers at micro level to quantify the available groundwater resources so that in future we can propose plans appropriate to scale of demand and aquifer characteristics so that institutional arrangements for participatory management are done. So until we don't identify, we cannot take up the process ahead. So we need to identify, we need to make the policies like, okay, now mapping is done. So we have to see the demand and supply also. There could be states where is more demand and less resources, then how we have to manage this. So everything will be seen under this program. So now, what are the highlights of this mapping? Out of the total mappable area, so mappable area nearly 25 lakh square kilometer. So for aquifer maps and management plans, they have been prepared an area of nearly 11.24 lakh square kilometer, which is spread over various parts of the country. As per the groundwater resource assessment carried out jointly by, as I told you, CGWB and the state ground departments are also involved. So here 1186 assessment units in the country, they have been categorized finally as overexploited. So these units are overexploited. So what do you mean by overexploited? Overexploited water resources means, especially for the groundwater if we talk, so there is overuse of the water. So water takes some time to replenish itself, to recharge itself, but then its capacity to recharge, we are draining out more water. So that is why we have seen that there are around 1186 units which are overexploited, of which aquifer mapping has been completed near 75 units. Okay, so now we will talk more about it, that what is this CGWB we are talking about, Central Groundwater Board. So they are entrusted with responsibility of developing and disseminating technologies and monitoring national policies for scientific and sustainable development and management of India's groundwater resources. So now from this definition you can get at least what are their responsibilities. So what they do, they periodically take up various studies which include the studies like your groundwater management studies. They will explore about the drilling programs also. They will monitor groundwater level and water quality through a network of groundwater observation wells. So the result which they collect is then shared with concerned states for taking up suitable groundwater specific interventions. So that is what this Central Groundwater Board does. And then coming to NAQUIM, so it is again, as I told you already, initiative of Ministry of Water Resources, Jal Shakti, and they are mapping. Now what they are doing, see, they're trying to maintain a hydrological map of India, and there are various aims of mapping. Firstly, identify map aquifers at micro level. So what I was telling you earlier, here it is written in points to make it easier for you. So next is to quantify the available groundwater resources, and then once it is quantified and identified, then you can further propose plans and then you can scale up to. So it was initiated as a part of groundwater management and regulation scheme, so that we can delineate and characterize these aquifers to develop plans. So in this AQUIM project, it is implemented in 6 selected areas in different hydrogeological environments in the country. So I have shown you that in the map also. Now there are various stages of this program. For example, collection, compilation, and the analysis of existing data. So this is very important. We will analyze the existing data, and based on this data requirement, protocol and data gaps, they will be identified. So in identification, now you understand what we need to identify in the data stages of program. So next is the required data which has been collected now is then generated, and data gaps, or there are domains through an array of scientific investigation. So that will go under scientific investigations. Then we will integrate all the data now we have from the collection, pre-data, existing data, new data. We will integrate the data, we will develop models, configure aquifers, and then the hydraulic properties, resource behavior, water level, chemical quality, everything is established in space-time domain. And finally, various supply and demand side interventions are worked out and recommended to sustainable use of groundwater, and even your local issues of any area will be under this, will be addressed under this stage. So this is how the stages will work. So here now we have discussed about this aquifer management. Now I would like to talk about water conservation. So see, according to experts, traditional knowledge of water conservation is only sustainable way to counter the dangers of national water emergency. And as you know, India is very rich in culture. So somewhere we have forgotten our traditional approach. From the years our communities have been conserving water, but today our communities have forgotten that, because the new generation, they are not aware about the old practices. So if these traditional approaches are applied, young generation is made aware of such existing approaches, we can actually help conserving water for our next generations for the sustainable use. So India, with its rich culture and heritage in terms of images, rituals, traditional knowledge to conserve water, cultural practice, and metaphors on water wisdom. So I will tell you all these traditional approaches now. First of all, it is about the women's role, because in ancient times, women were considered as the gatekeepers of water ecologies, and they were responsible for all these things. For example, building water bodies, like they used to build step wells, they used to build water tanks, even ponds. You can see the World Heritage Site of Queen's Stepwell, which is in Hindi known as Rani Ki Vav in Patan, Gujarat, and then Rani and the Padam Sagar in Jodhpur. Then you have tank Naga Mandala in Karnataka. Then women's role in cleaning and maintenance of water bodies. Then the performance of dances and songs. So like traditionally, if you give the responsibility to women, community women, and even in offices in charge women, you will see the tremendous differences. See, Girija Devi singing. So here I'll tell you some of the dances and songs, performances of water rituals. Okay, for example, there was Girija Devi singing the story of a woman making her way to fetch water. Then there are tales of Vidyadhari Bai. I will write here, Vidyadhari Bai. This is of Varanasi, practicing to capture in her voice the friction of rope against the stone wall of the well. Then there are songs like Ganga Geet. It is known as Ganga Geet in Uttarakhand. Then you have Bhavai dance in Rajasthan. Okay, and talking about these water rituals, this is like we worship the water body. Jal Yatras and Bhagavad Puja. There is Jal Yagya also. See, if we talk about India, Hindustan, the majority religious wise, there are Hindus present. So Hindus have lot of lot of communities are made up of Hindu people. So if you revive these traditional ways where the water was worshipped, conservation will follow, because there is sacred aspect joined to water bodies which can utilize for cleaning and maintenance water bodies. If you'll tell people about the traditional values that the water is sacred, so they will not make it dirty. For example, in Uttarakhand, it is believed that there is a water spirit. Okay, water spirit, that is in Hindi known as Masan. So it is present in all irrigation channels and he needs to be mollified to protect the crops. Then Rajasthan's pre-monsoon ritual, which is known as Lasipa. It ensures gathering, cleaning and desilting of all water bodies by all the villagers. And during fertility festivals, Gangor and Akhatij, I will write here, it is Gangor and your Akhatij. Women come together to clean lakes and tanks, and there are tribal practices also. Irrigation of paddy fields in the entire Zero Valley, if you have heard about this Zero Valley, where the main source of water for households and irrigation is from single small river and some spring wells, and there it is carried out through a network of irrigation channels. So therefore our heritage knowledge on irrigation, for example, what is practiced in remote cold desert of Spiti. Okay, then there are khuls. Khuls means channels, which are designed to carry long distance the water from glaciers to villages, and on reaching a village the water falls in central tank and the use is regulated by the community. So therefore traditional water knowledge is very important. You can look for the rainwater harvesting like building tanks, it is a traditional knowledge. You can talk about Rejwani system where water percolates through sand, settles on the gypsum layer and is brought for use by complex capillary system called Beri. Okay, and then there is Patli Pani, which are deep aquifers that is determined by the geological formation. Then again and again I am stressing upon the community role, community ownership. Traditionally water management was a community responsibility. So Neeru Ganti in Karnataka, it was a person who controlled and managed distribution of water, and system of water ownership is still prevalent in Spiti and Arunachal. So my main point here is, like today we are talking about aquifer management, because we are seeing finally we are under water stressed condition. That is why now we know that we need to map this. But however, if you look at the traditional ways, there are many ways for the water conservation. I have told you a few. Now what do you think about it? You can tell me in the comment box. Thank you.